The Associated Press college football poll is an absolute joke. For the fourth week in a row, starting with preseason, Nebraska's lost votes in the poll despite being undefeated, including a win over a power conference team in Cincinnati, and absolutely demolishing their lower level opponents from the Group of Five and the FCS. Now, you might be sitting here and saying, hey, Nebraska doesn't have a great resume. They haven't had any marquee games yet. I totally get it. I really, really do. But I look at the rest of the college football poll, and all I really ask for here is a little bit of logical consistency, right? If you're going to apply this logic to Nebraska, let's apply it to everybody else. I don't think that's asking too much. So I went through the poll, and when it came out yesterday, I went through the poll, and I'm looking at teams like USC. Very similar situation to Nebraska. Started unranked, receiving votes. They have a win over a mediocre power conference team, a win over a Group of Five team, and a win over an FCS team. They went from unranked, though receiving votes preseason. Now they are ranked at 25 for the first time this season. Missouri is another good example. Power 4 win, Group of 5 win, and an FCS win. They went from unranked to 25th. Now they're 23rd. Indiana might be one of my favorite examples because they have one of the worst schedules in all of college football. And they've struggled with one of those teams. They almost lost to an Old Dominion team. They only won by 13 points. That dropped them a couple spots after week one. Then, on the strength of dominating maybe the worst team in FBS football in Kennesaw State, they climbed back up. Now they're ahead of where they started. They're at 19th in the poll. I don't understand it whatsoever. Texas Tech is very similar. Their best win for Texas Tech, their best win is a win over 0-3 Oregon State, which might be the worst. I mean, if Kennesaw State's not the worst team in FBS, it might be Oregon State. Them and Oklahoma State are fighting it out for former power conference teams. And I do say former because Oregon State currently not in a power conference. That's Texas Tech's best win is over Oregon State. And maybe my favorite one. Notre Dame has not won a football game yet and is still ranked. We are 3 weeks into the season. I know Notre Dame's only played twice. We are 3 weeks into the season. Notre Dame doesn't have a win, and they are in the top 25. Somebody make it make sense. I didn't know all of a sudden all of us were adopting the SEC close loss rules, and that's what counts now. Oh, it doesn't matter about the wins. Oh, look at all these quality losses. I don't care about quality losses. I want W's. Notre Dame doesn't have any, yet they're in the poll, and Nebraska's not. And you might be asking yourself, Ravi, why does this matter, right? And it shouldn't matter to the team, it shouldn't matter to the coaches, it shouldn't matter to the players. But the reason this matters, and in fact, Nebraska might be the only team in maybe the history of people saying nobody believed in us that's actually telling the truth. It goes to the same perception that I was talking about last week with Dylan Raiola and what he's been dealing with the national media, where DJ Lagway, who 5 interceptions, by the way, I don't care who you're playing. If you throw 5 interceptions, you're having a bad day, buddy. I don't care that it's LSU. 5 interceptions is terrible. And if you actually watch that game, DJ Lagway looked worse than having thrown 5 interceptions, if that's humanly possible. The last few of those things, he was just chucking up there. It almost looked like he had the yips. I'm not saying DJ Lagway is never going to be a good player, but right now, Dylan Raiola is better. I'll bet on that. Arch Manning struggled against UTEP. You want to complain about Dylan Raiola putting up good numbers against bad teams. Arch Manning went sub 50% completion percentage against UTEP. He didn't have over 100 yards passing or a touchdown until the fourth quarter against, one more time for the ones in the back, UTEP, the team that we were upset that Nebraska only beat 40-7 last year, and Dylan Raiola put up better numbers than that in his first career start as a true freshman. Arch Manning's not a true freshman. I got to remind you, this is his third year in college. So we're looking at these guys, and what does this have to do with the rankings? It's the way the college football world views Nebraska, and that matters. It matters for recruiting. It matters for things like College Game Day, which is for some, only God knows why, going to Florida versus Miami. Yeah, I mean, don't even come to Nebraska, Michigan. That's fine. Indiana, Illinois is the best game this week, or Auburn, Oklahoma. It doesn't even have to be a Big Ten team. Auburn, Oklahoma is a better game than Florida, Miami. I don't know what they're doing. But these things matter. College game day coming to your campus matters. The way the national media views you matters for recruiting. It does. And not the least important thing in the world, the College Football Playoff Committee is part of the world around us. How college football views you is going to matter when you're trying to get into the college football playoff. That's why Indiana, despite just the one loss, struggled to get in last year. They were barely in because of how the college football world viewed Indiana last year. Now, all of a sudden, after one good year and losing their starting quarterback, not that that matters, is all of a sudden they're getting the benefit of the doubt. After barely beating Old Dominion and then having a Kennesaw State win, all of a sudden puts them back where they're supposed to be. This is why this matters. This is why this bothers me. Because if Nebraska is who I think they are, and I think still, from what I said in the offseason, that they can go 10-2 this season. They got to beat Michigan, right? All the games matter. They all matter. All of them are important Big Ten games now. But I think this team can go 10-2 still. I really do. And if that's the case, 10-2 is going to be right on the cusp, one way or the other, of a college football playoff appearance. And if Nebraska gets left out over because of a 9-3 SEC team, I'm going to lose it. Because I've seen these SEC teams. I've seen these other Big Ten teams. I've seen some of these ACC and Big 12 teams. If Nebraska gets left out in favor of a 9-3 SEC team because of all of this nonsense, which, by the way, is on the table. You might be calling me the boy who cried wolf or whatever, but this is on the table. If the college football world doesn't respect you, then getting left out is on the table. We saw it a couple years ago when Florida State went 13-0, undefeated, 13-0. Their quarterback got hurt. They thought that was the entire team, and they got left out of the college football playoff. You don't want to be a team that is not respected and given benefit of the doubt in today's college football world. There's practical, on-field consequences if people do not respect your program. Now, Nebraska is going to have to go out and continue to make people try and respect them. I understand that. But they've earned better than this. Here's what I really don't get. Notre Dame has disappointed people in their rankings year after year after year after year. I know they made the national championship game last year, and I like Marcus Freeman. I really do. I'm not one of those guys that hates Notre Dame. But Notre Dame gets the benefit of the doubt every single year, and they've got a longer national title drought than Nebraska. 1988 is the last time that team won a national title. Yet, they still get the benefit of the doubt, and they are winless and still ranked in the AP Top 25 poll, while Nebraska at 3-0 with a power conference win over a Cincinnati team that might actually be okay, by the way. I don't know if you've been paying attention. They had a 70-0 win over the weekend. Brendan Sorsby's looked really, really good against everybody else he played. He's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and he didn't get 100 yards passing against Nebraska. That Cincinnati win, I bet you by the end of the season, is going to look like a good win. I think that's a bowl team in a power conference, bare minimum. That's going to look like a good win. Certainly better than anything Indiana's done this year. And you know what? I'm not sure by the end of the year, Nebraska is going to have enough time to crawl out of the hole that the national media has created for them. I don't know. That's what I'm worried about. That's why this matters. I don't want to have to wait until next year for Nebraska to get the benefit of the doubt. I want people to recognize that this is a good football team today. Doesn't matter for the team itself. Doesn't matter for Coach Rule. Doesn't matter for the players. They're going to do what they do anyway. It matters for college football playoff. It matters for recruiting. And it matters for the fact that it just doesn't make any sense that Indiana is getting a benefit of the doubt when Nebraska isn't. It doesn't make any sense that DJ Lagway and Arch Manning are getting the benefit of the doubt when Dylan Raiola is not. I'm not sure there's 5 or 10 quarterbacks in the country I'm taking over Dylan Raiola at this point. And guess what? There's definitely not 25 teams in the country I'm taking over Nebraska.